Hi, today we'll be learning to draw these very cute grapes and color it using your oil pastels. So the first step is draw the shapes of the grapes. I'm creating some oval ones. I've not created a lot of overlap over here, but feel free to create it in any style that you like. Today I will be making green grapes. You could also use the same technique and style to create your purple grapes. I'm first taking some light green and I'm going to apply it on each one of my grape. I'm also going to leave a tiny highlight of white. You don't have to be too perfect or leave it in the same place for all of these grapes. One tip would be to observe a bunch of grapes, keep it in front of you or look at an image and try to see where the light is falling. But again, if you're going to do this for the first time, just feel free, explore the medium, figure out what really looks nice and what doesn't. And it's okay if you make some mistakes and you end up creating something really not satisfying, but just know that the process is going to be really nice. So it's very important for us to enjoy the process and to just have fun with the medium. Once the green is added, I'm going to take some white and I'm going to add it in the area which is left for highlight, and I'm going to just smoothen the entire thing. So I think this makes it look really nice. I would prefer smoother finish on the grapes because normally when you look at grapes, they give out this very shiny surface. So I would like to replicate that if possible using my oil pastels. So what you can also do is after every few grapes that you do, please keep cleaning your white color. Otherwise what will happen is when you're trying to go color on top of it, it will still be green because oil pastels are sticky. They have this tendency to leave the residue of the base color on top of the other color that you're adding. So be careful only about that. So now I'm taking some dark green over here and also adding it in this tiny spaces between the grapes. Okay, if you notice over here in those gaps, because there's going to be some shadow. Those are like the layers behind. So the layers behind will always be slightly darker. And as a rule, what I am doing is on the left side and slightly towards the bottom of every grape, I'm adding this dark green. And wherever you see that there is shadow, if something is completely covered on the top by two grapes, then you know that there's going to be a little bit of shadow over there. So start being little, observant about these things and be mindful about these tiny details which are there. It'll make your painting look realistic. So realism will come a lot more only with shadows. So when you give like a 2D or a 3D effect, if you're going to leave it flat, it's not going to look realistic, but then that is only if you want it to look realistic. If you like a flatter piece, just feel free, create you can still create layers, but you don't necessarily have to stick with the style. For example, here, and if because I want these grapes to look circular, my strokes are also curvilinear. They are not straight strokes that I'm creating, especially the ones that I'm doing as layers on top. Now with this yellow, you will notice that the entire thing is popping out. It's become brighter. So this is how you can create this really nice effect. And now I'm using some blue to add darker shades. This I'm doing so that the top four grapes which are there, they are not overlap by anything else, so I want them to pop out. The only way they will pop up is if they are lighter than the rest of the ones which are there. So blue on top of green is still going to give you a darker green, so that's the reason why I'm using a blue over here. You could still use like a light black, but it's going to be really dark, so it's good to build up your colors than to use a black directly. Ideally it's best to avoid it as much as possible. And this blue is looking really dark, so I'll see if I want to change it or edit it a little bit, but I think so far I love how the entire thing is coming out. I'm going to now create like a branch on top. I know I've not drawn it, so I'm going to do it directly with my oil pastels. So use like an edge of it. If it's not too sharp, then scrap it, or use like a cutter to create a sharp edge. But generally, because of the style of coloring in, it will be sharp. So what I do is I also make my oil pastels sleep in one direction and then I color it using that. So one area sort of remains sharp because of that. So Now I'm using a slightly more darker blue and adding a little bit of highlight here and there, and my grapes bunch is complete. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you for the next one.